and thank you so much for tuning in. This story today is a brand new story, and it's called The Inner Circle. Marcy, Mom, Beth, and Dad piled into the car. They all loved movie night. "So what are we going to see?" asked Marcy. "Brave," said Dad. "Wait a minute. I thought you said it was a new movie that just came out," protested Marcy. "Don't you want to see it?" asked Beth. "Yes, but that's not the point. Dad said new movie, and this isn't new. Dad, what's going on?" Ooh, Marcy was pretty upset. "Actually," said Dad, "I didn't say new, but to be more clear and accurate, I should have said a movie we've seen before that Mom didn't get to see with us that just got to the $2 theater in town." "On that point, we agree, Marcy." Oh, so Marcy had enough courage to question her dad. I think she could have used a better tone, been a little bit more respectful. But let's see what else happened. "Well, that's what I mean, Dad. You never say things straight. It's just one example." Ooh, Marcy continued to be rude. "Marcy, you're right about one thing. I need to work on being accurate when I talk." Oh, so Dad owned up to that. Good for him. "But I object to your use of the word never because I've been working on this. I'm not being deliberately unclear. You made an assumption that was wrong, and you need to work on your delivery. Your tone was rude." Oh, so here we have a situation where Marcy calls her dad out on something, and Dad calls Marcy's attention to something that she needs to work on, and that sounds pretty healthy so far. Let's see. "Sounds like you're letting yourself off the hook again, Dad, and changing the subject." So Marcy objected to Dad talking about what Marcy needed to work on. "And I feel like you're trying to be tricky. That upsets me. How can I trust you when you do that?" And then Marcy started to fix her tone, or at least she tried. "And without trust, how can you be part of my inner circle? I want to be able to trust you, but you keep letting me down." Ah, so that was the point. Mom decided to share a few thoughts. "Marcy, I have 3 things to say. First, it sounds to me like you're working pretty hard on trying to communicate clearly, and I think you're doing a very good job. And second, your tone could use some work, but I think you're starting to work on it, and that's good. And third, maybe you need to self-reflect a bit about the assumptions you made that you held Dad responsible for, because really, that's not the way we work on a healthy relationship. But other than that, I like that you're speaking up and sharing what's on your mind." Oh, so Mom supported the discussion. That's good. "Well, if a trusting relationship with Dad didn't matter, then I wouldn't care, and I wouldn't even try," said Marcy. "Oh, so," began Dad, "are you saying I should feel honored that you are putting your energy into helping me to be clear when I talk?" "That's right." Mom and Marcy said that at the same time, and there was an interesting interaction there because we don't know whether Dad exactly said that, like, "Well, so I should be happy that you're picking on me?" or whether Dad said, "Oh, now I understand." So let's see how the story continues to unfold. Beth decided to add a few thoughts of her own. She wasn't yet ready for the lighthearted conversation that was unfolding. "Wait a minute, so you're going to let her get away with being rude, just like that?" "Are you trying to start a fight, Beth?" asked Marcy. "I'm seeking clarification. Isn't that what you call it?" "Beth, seeking clarification is trying to understand something because you want to build a relationship. What you're doing is trying to get me in trouble." "Stop telling me what I'm trying to do, and stop telling Dad what he's trying to do. I'm sick of all of it. You make assumptions all over the place." Oh, Beth was really flying off the handle. Marcy thought about that for a moment. "So what you're doing is telling me to stop telling everyone what else to do. Do I have that right, Beth?" "Stop joking. I'm serious," said Beth. She was really getting upset. And Mom decided to step in at this point. Girls, can I say something? And they both shouted an emphatic, "No!" And then Mom said, "Well, at least you girls agree on something." "Beth, we should both take a deep breath," said Marcy. "Why?" "No! Stop being so bossy." Okay, does any listener here relate to this discussion? Did you have a sibling, or do you have a sibling, or do you have children who have discussions like this? There are aspects of this discussion that are healthy and some that need some work. So let's see if they can find a resolution to what's going on. Beth asked, "Oh wait, no. Why? No, stop being so bossy." "I'm not bossy." "Mom, tell her I'm not bossy." After a moment of awkward silence, Marcy said, "Oh, never mind. I'll do it myself." And Marcy decided to take a deep breath. And then she smiled. And Beth watched her. She said, "Why did you do that?" And Marcy answered, "Hope taught me. She learned about it in school, and it works. Since you and I already know we care about each other and we trust each other, we can take a deep breath." Beth took a deep breath. "Oh, that's interesting. I feel better. But I'm still mad at you." "Oh yeah, I know. That's okay. We can work it out. We're part of each other's inner circle. So we can put arguments on hold just for a few moments to take a deep breath, or even for a few hours, and then get back to the discussion because we trust that we'll do it. We'll trust each other that we will pick up where we left off. That's inner circle stuff." Beth was pretty impressed with her sister Marcy. "You're good at that, Marcy. You have a great memory, and I believe you'll bring stuff up later when we agree, even when I forget. I like that about you." "Thanks, Beth. I know I can be bossy, and I'm working on it. But this conversation between Dad and me is something that's a little different. I want to be able to trust him the way you can trust me. And he keeps on messing up. And it makes it hard for me to depend on him without asking like 5 questions whenever he says, like, anything." Beth asked, "What do you mean?" "Oh, so maybe Beth has a different relationship with her dad." "Well, he said new movie." Beth interrupted. "Actually, he didn't. That was your assumption." "Okay, right. But what he said made me think about the new ones coming out." "Oh. So now, let's see how Beth handles that." "So, Marcy, you're saying that it's his fault about what you think about? Doesn't that sound like you're accepting responsibility for, like what? What are you accepting responsibility for? It doesn't sound like you're accepting responsibility for anything." Beth went on and on. And Marcy cut her off and said, "Beth, that's not the point. I shouldn't have to ask if it's a new movie or if it just got to the $2 theater. I want to know my thoughts are being directed accurately and honestly. I want to know that my thoughts can trust the direction his words set them up for. Do you understand?" And Beth thought about it for a few moments and agreed that being forced to constantly seek clarification can put a strain on a trusting relationship. She and Marcy discussed inner circle. They discussed trust, respect, and the importance of eye contact, and healthy, respectful communication for the rest of the car trip. Remember, they were on their way to see that movie about which they were discussing, everything that led up to it. Okay. Once they arrived at the $2 movie theater, both girls skipped out and raced to the curb from the parking lot. Everyone in the family loved the messages in this particular movie. Marcy, Beth, and Dad. Mom didn't get a chance to see the whole thing with them. Marcy and Beth worked on not ruining the movie for each other by following agreements they made during the last time they had a family movie night. Beth wasn't supposed to ask questions during the movie, and Marcy was supposed to stop herself from predicting the next scene. That's fair. Do you have people you go to see movies with who you need to have agreements with? Like you either will tap each other or won't tap each other, you won't talk, well, okay. So this family had their little rhythm and their agreement. These two sisters did. Now after the movie, they all discussed their impressions of the lessons they learned from the characters, and they talked at length about their favorite parts. Watching certain movies more than once usually stimulated even more conversations than the first time, because the second viewing revealed whatever was missed the first time around, and that was generally because Marcy and Beth at one point or another may have lost track of their promises and forced themselves or the other person to miss pieces of the movie. So they always, if they did that, they remembered the next time around not to mess up. Anyway, it was great fun to talk about the movie, the first time they saw it, the second time they saw it, and this was especially fun because it was Mom's first time seeing the entire movie, and everyone wanted to know what she thought. Marcy looked at Beth and said, "You were pretty impressive, Beth. You didn't ask one question during the movie." "I hate when you do that, Marcy." "Do what?" Marcy was sincerely confused. "You're such a big boss and judge. Everything is such a big deal to you. Get over yourself." Okay. Mom and Dad looked at each other. Dad decided to intervene. "Girls, there's a time and a place for parents to step back and let siblings work things out on their own. But from where I sit, this isn't one of them." Dad's voice was very serious. He wasn't joking, and he continued. "Beth, sounds to me like you're being pretty rough on Marcy, and all she did was offer a compliment." "No, you weren't listening, and you didn't see her face. She was teasing me," insisted Beth. Now that's something else to keep in mind, stepping out of the story. When we look at somebody and we think that we can predict them because they're in our inner circle, sometimes we have to check back to make sure that what we're seeing and interpreting is actually what they're trying to convey. Because that's how we get out of making assumptions, and that's how we become aware of our own bias. Like, I think somebody meant or said or did something. So now, Dad got involved, and he asked Beth to reflect, and let's see if she continues to dig her heels in on this. "You weren't listening. You didn't see her face. She was teasing me," insisted Beth. "How about this?" began Dad. "Let's ask Marcy what she was trying to do." "No, she'll just lie about it." Ooh. Mom decided to add her thoughts. "Beth, I'm surprised at you. That's a hot button word, and we don't use that word about people we trust." Beth took a deep breath. She felt better and could think more clearly. "What's a hot button word?" she asked. Mom said, "That's a word that triggers emotions that distract from good feelings and clear thinking. In our family, the word lie is a hot button word because we don't try to deceive each other. We are all part of each other's inner circle, and that means we trust each other to look out for the best interest of each of us. It also means," added Marcy, "working on being clear and accurate when we talk," and she flashed a look at Dad. Okay, she felt safe. "And remembering to bring up topics that we put on hold. I didn't try to upset you, Beth." Now she turned her attention back to Beth, who was the point of this piece of the discussion. "I really was impressed with you. I'm sorry I sounded like I was judging you. I really wasn't." Beth looked at Marcy. She looked her in the eye, and when you look in somebody's eyes, it can reveal, unless they're very skilled at really hiding from themselves, it can reveal pieces of their soul, their energy, their spirit. So you look into somebody's eyes. If somebody's able to distract from the truth or lie to themselves while they're looking into somebody else's eyes, that's a pretty scary problem. But when children are young, generally they haven't developed those skills, at least the healthy ones, who are raised in a healthy environment. And when children raised in a healthy environment of positive energy look into your eyes or each other's eyes, they generally convey truth. So Beth looked at Marcy and said, "You know, I think most of it was my fault. I was feeling left out of the decision and the discussions before about the daughter and the bear, and I didn't realize it." Oh, okay. Step out of that story for a second. If any of you have seen Brave, it's a story about a mother-daughter relationship and how it develops, the trials and situations that they go through, the regrets they have, and the lessons that they learn. And Mom and Marcy had struggles that were similar in certain ways to the mom and daughter situation in the story Brave. So Beth is reflecting that she felt left out of some of those discussions, and there's no way for the reader at this part to understand that. So Beth looked at Marcy and said, "I think most of it was my fault. I was feeling left out of the discussion before about the daughter and the bear, and I didn't realize it. I took it out on you, Marcy. You did a good job not predicting the next scene, and I'm proud of you too." Mom and Dad were so proud of the maturity they heard in the back seat of the car. This was a rare conversation for Beth and Marcy, because up until this point, these types usually deteriorated into a shouting match, and both girls usually got sent to their rooms with the gratitude assignment. "Looks like our girls don't need the gratitude assignment this time," Dad said to Mom with a very big smile. And Beth didn't know that that particular assignment had a name. It was a code name between Mom and Dad. So Beth said, "What's that?" "Oh, you know. You know what it is. Remember what usually happens when discussions, or what happened when discussions and hot button words, such as the ones that we've just been going through just now, get out of hand?" asked Mom. And Marcy pitched in. She said, "Oh yeah, that's when we each have to make a list of 5 things we respect and admire about each other." And then Beth remembered, "Oh, and the 5 things that we're working on to improve ourselves. Don't forget that part." "Exactly," said Mom and Dad. Even though our family discussions following the gratitude assignment were always full of fun and good feelings, we're both as happy, even more so, to have 2 mature daughters who are learning how to self-reflect, take deep breaths, and bring logic into conversations filled with self-control and positive energy. I look forward to many more conversations just like these," said Mom. And indeed, this was the first of many to follow. For those just tuning in, this is WPWL 103.7 FM, Pauling Public Radio, and you're listening to Marcy's World. I'm your host, Dr. Nancy Iankowitz. And if you stick around for our Winter Wellness Wisdom segment about herbs and teas, we'll also talk about the pros and cons of exercises, using tea as medicine, and how to choose what's best for you. So we'll be right back. Now for you guys, hold on. Go to the Facebook page. Where is it? I don't know, but it's going to be backwards, I think. If you go to the Facebook page, Marcy's World, you can hear this and see this, and you can also go to Holistic and Integrative Healing, HOLISTIC AND, Integrative INTEGRATIVE, Healing, and you'll be able to hear the Winter Wellness. See you there.
What's this?